Fuck the Oscars, you know? Fuck the Oscars! Fuck you!
The movies, the internet stuff is so violent. It's so incredible.
I'm really worried about it just because the consumption of these violent video games has been going up continuously since the early 90s, and yet youth violence has been going down.
Look at juvenile crime statistics, which have gone down dramatically over the past 15 years. It really doesn't seem to bear what the American PD.
You can pick up guns, knives. You can now choose to punch, kick, headbutt people, stab them.
And welcome everybody. Welcome to Tuned In Live. This is our podcast. Well, it should be our weekly podcast. We haven't done one of these in a good while. Actually, since the end of 2018. It's been about a month since we did one of these. So guys, before we get into it, since you're here joining us for our new, our podcast right now, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a bunch of links to a bunch of different places you can follow us on. Right now, our channels are on Mixer and Caffeine.tv. We're not streaming on those currently. If you want to follow us on there, feel free to do so. But if you want to keep up to date with us on when we're going to be streaming and what we're going to be streaming next, be sure to follow us on Twitter at AeroOfficial17. If you do not have a Twitter page, if you're on Facebook, don't worry about it. Go to facebook.com/Aero with the name 18. Follow us over there. Get the same updates as well. And if you're watching us live on Twitch, what is going on, my man Wolf? Welcome to the show. If you guys are watching us on Twitch, be sure to come over and follow us on YouTube. Aero Entertainment is our channel. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, come on over and follow us on our main streaming channel, twitch.tv/Aero with a name. Yeah, I like the snow too. It's snowing right now. It's definitely a lot better than it is definitely a lot better than that fucking cold Arctic air that everybody's getting up there in the Midwest. You know, everybody's fucking shitters freezing and everything. Yeah, this has been one of those weeks, you know, where fucking the polar vortex comes down here, just like fucks us in the ass and makes us humble. You know, we've gotten snow. What was it, last weekend? It was like, what, about 4 inches? Didn't really, amount to much, and now it's like supposed to be 2 inches today on the East Coast for us. And yeah, Midwest, they're gonna be thawing out for a little while. So I hope you guys, if you're listening from the Midwest, hope you guys are thawing out, because you guys had Antarctic-like air. Like, they say the Antarctic is like -20, -30, and fucking Chicago is like -50. Like, god damn. As soon as you go outside, you're fucking freezing already. It's like Mr. Freeze took over Chicago. Isn't that something? That'd be something. Mr. Freeze has taken over Chicago. Y'all better beware. So anyway, what's going on, guys? Coming up in 2 weeks, my main man Wolf, who's in the chat, him and I, we're gonna be doing an episode of Tuned In Live. We have a pretty good article to talk about then. Something about PlayStation ending their PlayStation Plus games, their free games on the PlayStation 3. We're going to talk all about that within the next 2 weeks. Talk about how, Sony is changing up their game and this and that. So they're getting ready to do their PlayStation 5. Plus, I heard a rumor today on Twitter. I was reading it. I didn't read the whole article, but I looked at it, and they said that the PlayStation 5 could look into backwards compatibility, which is a good turn of events, because the PS4, that was kind of a flop with that. Like, Xbox, they did it right. Xbox did it right, and they added a source code to it, which is an emulator where you can emulate the coding off of an Xbox 360 game and now the original Xbox games. And you just found out the PlayStation Online Store is going from 10 gigs to 100 gigs. Oh, that's good. They need that. They definitely need that. 10 gigs is way too small for anything at all. So yeah, while we're speaking of games, let me go into this topic here. This is one of the topics of the day of the show. GameStop shares plunge after it pulls its plug on finding a buyer. Now, in case you guys are living under a rock, if you're a gamer and you shop at GameStop like I do, I haven't actually shopped at GameStop in months, but they were supposed to buy a buyer or have somebody buy their buy a buyer. They're supposed to find a buyer. Somebody was supposed to buy them out. Coming well, actually, it is February. Today's February 1st. They were supposed to find somebody this month. Somebody was supposed to buy them out, but GameStop had pulled their plug. They pulled out of that. Apparently, they decided not to sell, and their shares, the stock market and everything, they just went downhill. They went plunge. They went down. They went down the hole. They went down the hole. So, looking at this article here, GameStop, the nation's largest independent seller of video games. Is there a way I can get rid of this fucking video box that's blocking my text? There we go. Is ending efforts to find a buyer. The company's stock stock price tumbled. God, I can't read. 25% in the early morning trade, with investors seemingly questioning the brick-and-mortar retailer's prospects as more consumers download games online. So pretty much GameStop is going under the way Blockbuster and Hollywood Video went under when the whole craze of the Red Box and Netflix and Hulu and all these video streaming services came about. They went under, and now GameStop's about to go under the same way. GameStop began considering strategic alternatives, including a possible deal to sell the company last June, but it stopped pursuing a sale due to the lack of available financing on terms that would be commercially acceptable to a prospective acquirer, the company announced on Tuesday. This article came out January 29th, so it did come out this week. Interim GameStop CEO Shane Kim cited that the company's problems in November earnings call, noting that we continue to face challenges in our traditional physical video game retail business model. GameStop will also continue searching for a permanent CEO after former chief executive Michael Mueller stepped down last May after only 3 months in the position. With no buyer in sight, the company will now get its financial house in order, Wedbush Securities analyst Michael Patcher said in a research note. We expect GameStop to aggressively cut costs. Cut costs in 2019 and beyond to pay its debt balance down to zero and increase its shares repurchase program. As digital downloads cut into physical sales of video games, the retailer will need to improve its collectible sales in the big picture, make its stores more engaging for experience-hungry consumers, said analyst Joe Feldman from Tesla Advisory Group. You want to give people a reason to go back to your store, whether it's playing areas or a place to hang out to hang out with friends there. The retailer has 5,800 stores. I was getting ready to say 1,000. Ain't that much. So there's 5,800 stores globally. It reported $2.1 billion in revenue for the third quarter of 2018 and 68 cents earning per share, up to nearly 5% and 25% respectively for the year and the year early period. So what it all comes down to, GameStop is struggling to keep in the game. Kind of like how, like I said earlier, Blockbuster and Hollywood Video were trying their damnedest to stay in the game. Blockbuster has been around for fucking ages. I'm talking like the 80s, late 80s, heavily into the 90s. I remember as a kid going to Blockbuster with my parents. We just walk around, look at all the the VHS covers, picking out what movies we're going to watch and shit. The poster boards and all that. It was a fun experience. I got to experience it a little bit more with Hollywood Video in my high school years. My early job that I had, I wasn't making much while I was in school, but whatever I made, I would go up to Hollywood Video, which is right up the road. I'd walk up there, and I didn't have a membership. I didn't know how much it cost to have a membership. So I would go to the center of the store and check out all their DVDs that you can actually buy. Like everything was like under $10, and I found a lot of good movies up there that I bought. But not just that, but walking around, different sections: the action, the comedy, the horror, thrillers, even the video game section. Like you go in the video game section, you've seen boxes for Nintendo 64, NES, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, Xbox, whatever. You've seen it all, and you can rent those games out, I think, for like $5 a day or something like that, or $5 for a 3-day period. And then finally I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and get me a membership to Hollywood Video, since Blockbuster was already closing down a lot of their stores at that time because Redbox had hit the scene, and they were popping up in McDonald's, they were popping up in drugstores, grocery stores, wherever you could find them. Well, Redbox is still kind of relevant these days now. Anyway, they're still, you can find them in Walmarts and shit. They're still out there. People have learned ways of hacking those motherfuckers and stealing discs and shit and putting them back in. Imagine going there and picking up a physical copy of Resident Evil 2 off the game section, and only to get a fucking disc of Debbie Does Dallas 20 with the fucking barcode in the goddamn disc, and you're like, I didn't pay fucking 99 cents for a porno. I want the fucking game. But that's the thing you get out of Redbox nowadays, anyways. But anyways, like I said, Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, they went under ever since the whole craze of Redbox, and then all these digital streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Crackle, all those services. Even like if you go to like a Microsoft Xbox store or on PlayStation, you can buy movies and TV shows digitally now. You can rent them or you can buy them. I mean, of course, they don't have every single thing out there. It's not like a video store where if you're looking for a particular movie in general, you're not going to be able to find that digital. You're not going to be able to find that online streaming. You would find that in a video store, but now for those kind of things, you would have to look online like Amazon or eBay, or try to find a turn site and download them that way. Just like with music. Now, music, ever since the early days of Napster, I came into the whole scene when Napster was big. Let me tell you, I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade when I found out about Napster. And one of my neighbors, a buddy of mine, he was like, yeah, I use Napster to download music. I'm like, what is that? He said, it's a program you could download on your computer. It's free to download, and you could download music. I said, does it take up a whole lot of space? No, it doesn't really. I was like, okay. For the computer I had, I didn't have a big hard drive in it, and I didn't know a whole lot about like space and all, but I know like if I knew how to read my hard drive, so if I knew I was running out of space, then I was like, fuck, this shit is taking up space. So I went home and I downloaded Napster. I had the old dial-up modem, hook up the phone line to that son of a bitch. And your mother can't talk on a phone, your dad can't talk on a phone or whatever because you're online downloading fucking Rolling Stones, Korn, Metallica, all kind of shit. Eminem, early days. This is I think this is post Eminem. No, this is pre-Eminem show. I remember going to the mall and buying the Eminem show. But yeah, I was going home, I was downloading music, and Napster, I love Napster. I love the software. I love the way it was set up. And not only could you download music and, of course, video files at the same time, even though it took like 5 minutes to download one song, depending on how well your connection is. But you can also sit there in a chat room and chat with people, meet different. I met quite a few people on there. We chatted about, we exchanged MSN and AOL and Yahoo Messenger, getting tags, usernames and shit. Yeah, Netscape. I used Netscape in school. I always wanted to use Netscape. I was always fascinated with the Netscape Navigator, especially the icon logo and all. I was always fascinated with that. We got to use that in high school and all on those old compact Presario PCs and shit. And you got the iPad, the iMacs and all. But yeah, with the early days of Napster, and I've been downloading music since then. And it's evolved over the years, like when it comes to quote-unquote downloading illegally. I've used Napster, LimeWire, BearShare, Kazaa. When all those services went down, I went to downloading torrents. It's torrents. Torrent files, downloading like uTorrent, and then of course it's basically like a zip file. If you download a movie, and it comes in a zip file, which is a torrent, and you use a program like uTorrent to unzip it and download that file to your computer, and you have it. So I was doing movies, I was doing music, I even did programs and shit, you know? Now, was I selling the stuff? No, it's for my own personal pleasure, you know? And nowadays, you know, torrent sites, they've been shut down. One of them still actually exists, which is the Pirate Bay. It's barely keeping up there. But if you want music, there's alternate ways of getting music, like thanks to YouTube. You got a YouTube downloader, which can actually download either the video file or the MP3. It extracts the MP3 file from it. So if I still want music, I can do that. But also, I have a free Spotify account, so I listen to music on Spotify too. But Spotify does not have everything. Alright, you want to know what has just about everything, or, well, not every single thing 100%, but all the music I've acquired over the years between downloading and ripping CDs. I even had like a whole bunch of CDs back in the day. God, I had over 400 music CDs in one book. And this between downloading music from the internet and going out and buying CDs from places like Record or Tape Traders, CD Warehouse, FYE, Best Buy, you name it. I've gotten CDs from all over the place. I don't have them anymore. I felt like they took up too much space in my inventory and shit, so I just made everything digital. Makes it a lot more easier and accessible now. That's the same thing with movies. You know, movies, when you download them, or you can access them through Netflix or any of those streaming services. You got an MP3 juice. I heard about that. It compacts YouTube videos to music. Yeah, I heard about that too. But I also got I use a free program. Well, I pay like $30 for the program, but it does pretty much the same thing. It downloads videos from YouTube, and then it extracts the audio from it into an MP3 file, which is what I did for my buddy Mike this weekend. He wanted a CD, and I told him, hey, if I don't have it, I will get it for you, you know? But look at how music has evolved in the last 20 years. God, I can actually say that now. The last 20 years. Napster came out, 21 years ago, and it's changed the way we listen to music. Changed the way we access it. It's amazing what technology has been through, how it evolved over the last 20 years now. And what is that? Yeah, that's why I have the underground version of Evanescence and Linkin Park. Hell yeah. That's how I got all that shit too, man. But yeah, look how music has evolved. You know, you used to go out and buy physical copies of CDs, cassettes, vinyls. And now in the digital age, you got programs like iHeartRadio, Spotify, all these other, music streaming services. Yeah, they don't have everything. They have a lot more mainstream stuff. They do have some stuff that is hard to find a little bit, but not everything. But I figure they'll add that later on, I guess, depending on if they can get the license for it. But, with the digital age of music, CDs are starting to become obsolete now. Like, they stopped making audio CDs, or at least they're trying to. They're getting ready to wind down from, processing and putting music on an audio CD and just making it straight digital. Now, as for vinyl, vinyl is actually making a comeback. There's a lot of people out there that are purchasing vinyl records and collecting them, so they are making a heavy comeback now. I gotta get it in the game with that, but the thing is, vinyl records, they're expensive. They run anywhere from like $20 to $40, depending on what record company they're being produced by or produced through, depending on the band and stuff like that. So yeah, vinyl's making a comeback. Audio CDs are out, but still, music is being purchased and listened to digitally. And then you got places like FYE that are going under. And FYE was big back in the day for music. But not just music. They were also selling movies as well and video games. And the last time I went into an FYE, it was ridiculous. They were selling all kind of novelty items and clothes and shit. They even had a section for like WWE cereals and WWE candy bars and soda pops and shit like that. I'm like, where the fuck is the music? Oh, this one small tiny section in the corner, right across from the small tiny section of movies. And you got a somewhat, it's not big, but it's not too small of a section for TV shows on the wall. But everything is just like toys, novelty items, lamps, cereals, candies, clothes, stuff like that. Where's FYE at now? In our location, it's gone. They're still around in some certain locations, but they're kind of going under too, because music has gone digital. Nobody's buying physical copies anymore. Nobody's going to those stores to buy novelty items like that are expensive as fuck. Just like with movies. People are downloading movies, people are streaming and buying movies. It's all the same. Movies have evolved digitally the same way that music has evolved digitally. Now everybody's watching movies digitally through streaming services on their game consoles, their PCs, their cell phones, their tablets. It's all the same. And with movies, there's no more blockbusters. There's no more Hollywood videos, anything like that. I mean, they're still going to put movies on Blu-ray and DVD. You're still going to be able to find those in stores. Yeah, I don't know for how long, but people find that being able to purchase a movie digitally at your fingertips, you ain't got to worry about going out to the store and buying a physical copy of the movie. You can just click a button, buy it, and then you can watch it right there within seconds. Now, some people like me, if I actually had the room for them, I enjoy buying physical copies of everything. I enjoy having a physical copy of a movie or a game in a jewel case. That's pretty much eye candy. I like looking at a jewel case and saying, ooh, I like this. This is really an eye catcher. Just like right above me right now, if I pull it down, you guys ain't going to see it. I'm holding Stranger Things, Season 1. And it comes in this box. It's a unique box. It's not the traditional jewel case like everything else, especially for TV shows. But it's in the shape of a VHS cart, and it's got the sleeve that goes over it, and it's got that 1980s gritty, torn feel to it. It feels like something out of the 1980s. And then you pull the box out itself, and it looks just like an old school VHS tape with the label and everything on it. And then you open it up, and then you got a poster, you got the Blu-ray discs, and if you flip through, you got the DVD discs. This is a pretty cool looking box set for something that I've never seen. Like, I haven't even watched Stranger Things yet. Like, they're already talking about season 3, so I gotta get caught up in that. But that was one reason why I got that. It caught my eye because it's nostalgia. It's very unique, so stuff like that. And that's what I like about collecting physical stuff. Now, the same thing is happening to video games, and it's been happening to video games since, not this current generation, last generation, with the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, where, you were buying physical copies, but then when they started evolving the consoles and putting hard drives in them, like big hard drives. And they say you could download games digitally, especially free games. Like if you sign up for PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live, you could download free games each month under a subscription fee of $24.99 for Xbox, and I think it was a little bit less than that. Well, PlayStation 3, you didn't have to pay to play online, but if you wanted the free games, PlayStation Plus, I think, was the same price, $24.99 or a little bit less than that. I forgot what the price was then. I know they raised it up now for PS4. So you can download digital games, and it evolved into something else. You can even download full games too. You could buy, well, I can't remember if you could buy I think you could. It just all depends on how they evolve the store. And then comes Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now you can pre-order and you can download digital games at any time. Especially with pre-ordering. If a game is coming out like within a month or two, or right on down the road, and they got a pre-order for it, you can just click that icon, preload it on there, and say, well, I own a copy of Crackdown 3. Crackdown 3 comes out on the 15th. Hey, I'll be playing that through Game Pass, but I already mentioned enough about Game Pass in the past. So yeah, if you want to purchase Crackdown 3, like, okay, I could just buy it digital, preload on my console, and then the night it becomes available, all I gotta do is start it up. It's already preloaded. It's already installed. Just as soon as midnight hits, I can go right into it. That's how easy and quick these games are digital. You buy them, and you can play them at the touch, at the speed of a fingertip, at the speed of the thumb, or however that fucking phrase goes. Rather than going out, driving up the road 5 minutes, walking up the road 5 minutes, whatever, through the cold or through the hot, through the rain, through the snow, whatever, or maybe it's a beautiful spring day or a beautiful fall day, just going up the road to your GameStop or your local store and purchasing that copy of Resident Evil 2 physical. And like I said, I have nothing against physical games. I still have some physical games, and I do enjoy the box arts, the cover arts in these jewel cases, just to hold the game in your hand. It's like you're a kid again, like back in the days of NES and all, just holding that card in your hand, just putting it in the console, rather than pushing a button and starting the game up. But nowadays, it's more convenient, it's more easier. Buy the stuff digital, and all you got to do is sift through a list of games that you got. Like for me, it's like over 300 games installed on my Xbox, and just do it that way. Same thing with PC. Like PC used to be able to buy physical copies of games and install them through your CD-ROM or your 3.5-inch floppy drive, if anybody remembers that, and you were good to go. But now you got like the Steam store, you got Origins, you got Epic Game Store, you got all these stores online. Blizzard, Blizzard, Battle.net and all that. You can buy games digital and play them that way. They're easy to access. So what's going to happen with physical copies now? I mean, games have evolved into the digital era the same way music and movies have evolved. So everything is pretty much digital. It's at the speed of your fingertips right now. So that's what's going to happen with GameStop. The same way these movie retailers and these music retailers have all went. They all gone under because nobody's going to their store to purchase a physical copy of a movie, an audio CD, or a video game now. So right now, GameStop is going down the same path, and I've seen it forehand. I've been to a couple of them that are doing the same thing that FYE's doing. They're putting out novelty items. Toys, mugs, clothes, statues, puzzles, stuff like that. While the rest of the store is surrounded by video games up on the walls and all. And I'm like, this is a video game store. Like, they even started selling retro stuff. I would go into my local GameStop, and I look on the wall to the right, and they got these jewel cases with the box art covers on them for like Mario Kart 64, Super Mario Bros. 3, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You know, and it's like, okay, there's the prices for them. Take it up to the counter, and I guess they go in the back and they grab the copy of the game. It's in a bag or something like that, and they bring it out. They're not going to give you the whole fucking thing. You know, they're not going to give you the whole, you know, the box and the booklet with it. They're just going to give you the game cart. So yeah, GameStop is trying to keep in the game with selling and retailing retro stuff now, which is pretty good because retro is coming back. But now it's going to be a lot harder to obtain anything retro. If you're looking to collect into the Nintendo 64, the NES, the Sega Genesis, or the classic PlayStation, it's hard to do now. I mean, the only places to be able to find that kind of stuff is online with eBay and Amazon, or hope you got a pawn shop in your area that's selling that stuff. Luckily for me, I do. There's a couple around that I can go to and just like look around and buy old stuff. I can go buy an Atari 2600 if I want for like $70, and hopefully it still works. I know Wolf had an experience where he bought fucking Game Shark and he showed it to me, and it was like it wouldn't even work on the console at all. It was just like glitched out. Somebody sold it to him. I guess the guy was like, "Oh, you sure the shit works?" "Yeah, it works. I tested it at home." And then Wolf was the first sucker to buy it. He brought it home. He's like, "What the fuck? It ain't working." So he's like, "Mike, see what you can do with this shit." I put it in mine. Nothing. I was like, "Oh, well, it'll make a nice frisbee for the dog or some shit." Oh, yeah, but, yeah, GameStop, like I said, they are going under the same way all these other retailers have went under. You know, FYE and all, CD Warehouse, Record and Tape Traders, all these good stores, especially in my area. I used to love going into places like Record and Tape Traders. I don't know how many locations they had. I think it was just a Maryland location. They had like 3 different areas in Maryland where they had a Record and Tape Traders, but just going in there, you know, the smell of the atmosphere, being in there around all this music, all these movies, you know, the nostalgia. I loved going to Record and Tape Traders and just walking around, and I bought so many CDs from there. It was one of my favorite places, and when they closed up shop, I'm like, God, I missed that place so much. I was upset. And then we went on back to GameStop. I mean, I'm gonna miss GameStop if they do close down. Like, the one near me used to be Funko Land. If any of you guys go all the way back to that, Funko Land, holy shit. Now that was a place. When I moved over here 22 years ago in my location, and there was a Funko Land over in that shopping center that I go to. And then, of course, one day they changed to GameStop, and I'm like, I guess GameStop must have bought them out or something, or they changed their name. But I went in that GameStop so many times over so many years. I went to quite a few midnight launches. They're not even doing the midnight launches anymore. I used to love standing outside till like 12 o'clock in line talking to a bunch of other people who game and are there for the same fucking game. You know, I enjoy sitting there talking to these people. But now, long of those days, you know, like recently when Resident Evil 2 came out, the remake, and my buddy was like, "Hey, we're going to the midnight launch." I was like, "Yeah, you go there at 7:30, they hand the game out at 9 o'clock. They don't even bother staying open to 12 o'clock anymore." That's just sad. I mean, I guess the good thing is, if you're buying a physical copy of the game, hey, take it home, install it, and play it. You get to play it well before everybody else can because they bought digital. But yeah, they're still going to sell physical copies of games. They still are. They're still going to make physical copies of games regardless, unless, of course, they go all digital, and then that's kaput. That's just the way the music and movies have went over the years. But GameStop, they're trying to stay in the game. They're trying real hard, but sales are down. Nobody's going there that much anymore. Nobody wants to buy a Super Mario Brothers mug. Nobody wants to buy a Legend of Zelda puzzle. That stuff's for kids. Unless you are a real collector and you're really into it, you'll buy it. You'll buy that mug for $15. You'll buy that puzzle for $20. The shirts, yeah, you only get up to like a 2X. So if you're like me looking for a fucking shirt that has like Mario on it, hey, you ain't gonna get anywhere past 2XL, you know. That's pretty sad. So yeah, with the era of digital downloads, you know, you being able to download games on Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo, that's pretty much why GameStop is in financial trouble right now. They're trying to find somebody to buy them out to save the company. But I guess they must have had a reason to pull out from that. I guess they figured they could do it on their own. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want anybody else to come in, buy it, and change it around and fuck it up for them, or, you know, I don't know what the deal is. That's probably what it is. They probably figure, okay, this company here wants to buy it out. We're in talks with it, but they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to change it up quite a bit, and it's like, nope, fuck you, we're done, and they pull out. Maybe it was the best for them, maybe it was the worst for them, maybe they're deciding, okay, maybe it's time for it to die, I don't know. But I feel like GameStop is going to die the same way that FYE's dying, the same way that Blockbuster had died, Hollywood Video, all of them. It's going down the same path. Because now digital video gaming is a thing. If you got a video game console and you got some external hard drives that you can connect to these consoles to add a shit ton more space, you could download games digital now. Because here's my thing. Yes, I still don't get why. You got a Blu-ray disc that has all this data on it for this one video game. Take this game right here that I'm holding in my hands. This is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Yeah, I know the game's like 3 years old. So, this game requires you to install 5 gigabytes of data on the console. Digital rules, yep. Hey, there's my buddy Empire. What's up, man? So, a Blu-ray disc can hold, I don't know how many more times the space of a DVD. But Blu-ray discs, you could play them on PlayStation 3. You weren't really even required to install any kind of game data. Maybe in an update, I don't know. That was it. But to take a game as small as this and having to install it on the console still, that defeats the purpose of owning a physical copy of the game. That defeats the purpose. So I'm like, okay, I bought a physical copy. Oh, I expect to take it home, pop it into this tray, and play it, right? Nope. Gotta install it. Then, God forbid, if you need an update for that game. And, of course, you gotta have a good internet connection. That's another thing. Internet connection for that shit. I'm actually gonna leave that as a whole other subject. The internet and gaming. I'm gonna leave that for a whole nother episode, you know, but still, in the age of, the digital, you know, like I said, with music, movies, and now games, digital it's taken over. It's taken over. Xbox is getting ready to release 2 consoles within the next 2 years. One that plays discs, the other that's strictly digital. But I got a feeling that digital is going to have more rule over the one that takes the CDs. Because everybody wants to download games. I mean, if you got a good internet connection, which pretty much 80% of the country has right now, is a good internet connection. Screw Comcast. Yeah, I'm with Verizon, man. I know Comcast has some shitty areas too. So it's like, if you want to download a game, 60 gigabytes, and you got a poor internet connection, you go be there all night. So rather than doing that, it's like, okay, I can go out and buy the game physical and be able to play it, right? No, you still got to install the data, but hey, it's gonna install a lot faster than it is to download the fucking game through an online store. But yeah, GameStop, their stocks have plummeted. Yeah, they're about to be dust in the wind. That's all I can say about that. Digital has taken over. Moving on from, you know, the old school shit, music, movies, Napster, da-da-da. Let's talk about some Resident Evil real quick. Second half of the show. Resident Evil. My buddy Empire in the chat You guys follow him on twitch.tv/TheEmpire495. Lately, he's been streaming some Resident Evil 6. I've been meaning to stream that myself. I haven't gotten around to it, but it's a pretty good game. He's been having a lot of fun with it. I was streaming Resident Evil 2 Remake lately, and boy, I gotta say, that game, it's a perfect 10 out of 10. I gotta say, you know, when I first started playing it last Friday morning, last Thursday night, my buddy Bane, who I game share with, he bought the game. He bought the deluxe edition, and at midnight I was able to start it up and play it. Chris's storyline is different. Yeah, it is. All their storylines are pretty different. That's what's unique about Resident Evil 6. You got 4 different storylines, and they all intertwine at one point. They have different villains, like I think with Leon, you're fighting what's his face at the end. You were telling me about that. I forgot what his name was. Chris and I forgot what his name is. I forgot who you fight with them. Sherry and Jake, you fight Simmons, that's what it is. And Jake and Sherry, they fight the Ura tank or whatever the fuck that thing is. And then Ada is pretty much, in between. So everything, it's all the same story, but different paths, and of course they all intertwine at one point or another. They all interact with each other. So it's basically one storyline. It's all taking place in 4 different scenarios. Kind of like with Resident Evil 2. You got 2 characters, Leon and Claire, both taking place the same time, in the same location, but they're going through different things on their own. And of course, they intertwine, they cross paths a few times within the game, but that's pretty much the premise of Resident Evil 6. You got all these characters, and they all cross paths at one point, help each other out. It adds a little bit more to the story, which I like. Not a lot of people like that entry, but I loved it. I still love it. I have it. I beat it back on PS3. I still got to beat it on Xbox One. It's been a little while since I played it, but I got to get back into playing it. But I do got to say, with Heart Key was Claire only, right? And the Club Key was Leon? Yes, that's what it was. I remember in the original, you can get all the keys with both characters, but they changed that up. Depending on what rooms each character is only allowed to go in. I guess it makes it a little bit more harder or challenging. I don't know. But yeah, the Heart Key is on Claire's story, and the Club Key is on Leon's. But I do got to say, playing through and beating... Oh, he's playing it and he didn't know that? Well, he knows it now. So if he's looking around for that Heart Key on Leon, tell him not to worry about it. The Club Key on Claire, just tell him not to worry about it. And they're story related. They're character related. So yeah, I've been playing through Resident Evil 2. I beat the game twice on Scenario A, both characters. I'm working on Scenario B for both characters as of right now. Well, I'm not playing it right now, but... And then, of course, last night I tried doing, I tried speed running standard on Leon, and I ended up getting bitch slapped by fucking Mr. X one time, and that was that. I was doing pretty good, too. I had a pretty decent run. Like, there was one point where I was just playing around with Mr. X in the hallway, and I was ducking inside the fucking dark room. And it was just like, he was just like glitching in the door and shit. It was just hilarious. I screen capped it. I'm going to share that on Facebook a little later. Oh, you couldn't use it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know how that is. But yeah, playing through this game, it is challenging, but it's really good. It's hard, but it's really good. A lot of people make it look like it's short as fuck. Even though some people say it takes like 10 hours to beat. That's if you take your time, find health items, find ammo, and plus you're dodging fucking Mr. X. It takes a while. People speed ran that motherfucker under an hour. Have I done any of the extras on RE6? I think I have when I had it on PS3. I can't remember what they were. Let me see. I have the yeah, I got the complete edition on Xbox. Yeah, it includes all the maps and the multiplayer DLC. I think I played one of the DLCs. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I do have those available on the disc, so I'm gonna have to pop that in soon and check that out. RE2, they did an amazing job. When they announced this game 4 years ago, when they said that they were working on it, everybody was excited. This is the game that everybody wants. And they made it. When they announced it at E3 last year and I saw the trailer for it, I was ecstatic. I could not wait for this game to come out. This is... It's like waiting for Christmas, you know? It's like a kid waiting for Christmas. You know, you're waiting for that one special gift, and you know, you gotta wait those months until Christmas comes, and your parents are like, you can't get it until Christmas, but when it comes, and you open it up, and you're with awe, and you sit there, and you play with it, and you're just happy. You're just happy. And I played through it, and I struggled a little bit, but I was satisfied. And I still have a lot more to do with this game. I have still a lot more to open, and that's what I love about this game. They give you so much to do. Not just a main storyline, but there's so much to do to make you keep coming back and playing it. Now, you got people on YouTube and Twitch, they speed run the motherfucker. I beat it in an hour and 20 minutes. I beat it in an hour. This guy, I already got the game platinum out. Good for you! Really, good for you. You just wanted to fucking speedrun it just for the fuck of it. But people like me, I want to sit and I want to enjoy it. And that's what I do with every single Resident Evil game that comes out. I sit, I play, and I enjoy it. Every single bit of it. And that's what I do. That's what I'm doing with this game. It is that good. The graphic detail of it running at 60 frames per second, the controls, the atmosphere, the soundtrack, the voiceover, the enemies, the animations, everything is just so perfect with this game. Even people are like, is this game better than the original? And I would have to say so. Sadly, as much as I love the original, everybody says the original RE2 is their favorite. Hands down, they're number one. Everybody says that. I love it. I love Resident Evil 2. And not just because of the story, but because of how well they pack everything into this game. They did the same thing with the original, to where they add all this extra content. Beat the game and under this set amount of time, so many saves you unlock. The 4 Survivor, the Extreme Battle Mode, Tofu, you got so much content to unlock. And you know what? I don't think Capcom's going to have any plans of releasing this shit as DLC, which is good. Because now, if you are a true gamer, you will play through this game to unlock this content the way we used to back in the day. And that's what I love about this shit. It's old school. It gives you that feeling. It's like, hey, there's no microtransactions with this shit. There's no buying the hunk scenario. There's no buying the tofu scenario. If you want, I mean, the only extra thing that you really do buy if you don't buy the deluxe edition is the original soundtrack that overlays the current soundtrack in the game to make it sound like the original. You buy the extra suits, the guns. That's it. It's only a couple guns. There's a few suits that, you know, you can walk through the game with. You know, you got the classic suits, the alternate suits. Well, you get those when you beat the game, but you got like the noir suit for Leon. You got the Rick Grimes suit for Leon. You got the original Elsa costume for Claire, which was in Resident Evil 1.5. That's all the stuff. It's just cosmetic stuff. I don't mind that. But when it comes to like story, well, there is one free DLC coming out February 15th. It's called The Ghost Survivors. It's basically a what-if scenario. And it's going to be a scenario for Chief Irons, the mayor's daughter, and one of the Umbrella soldiers, I guess, who did not make it out of Raccoon City alive. So that's going to be free DLC coming out. But other than that, the traditional... Well, there is one thing that kind of disappointed me about the game is they do not have an extreme battle mode like the original did. And that's disappointing. That's what I was looking forward to also, is like, where's the extreme battle mode? I mean, you got the Force Survivor, you got Tofu. When I saw the trailer that had Tofu in it, I was like, oh wow, I can't wait to play as that fucking block of cheese. I can't wait. But no extreme battle mode. That was upsetting. That's the only thing that upset me about the game, was there's no extreme battle mode. I hope they add it as free DLC in the future. Come on, Capcom. Give us the extreme battle mode, or a mercenaries mode, or something like that. Bring that shit back. It was action-based in a way, but also had the horror base to it as well. But I enjoyed that. And now that RE2 Remake is out, and it's seeing really good scores everywhere online, and it sold 3 billion copies this week alone. Yeah, I think Capcom is going, well, that Capcom did say they will remake Resident Evil 3 if the fans demand it, if they petition for it. So I'd say let's all get out there and petition to get that son of a bitch fucking made, you know? Because let me tell you something, RE2 is hard. If you think that's hard, if they remake 3 with Nemesis, oh my god, if you go back as far as I do, when I first played Resident Evil 3, holy shit, you think Mr. X is bad? Wait till you I can't wait. If they actually do this, I can't wait to see how fucking Nemesis is going to be. That's going to be hard as shit. Because, you know, when it comes to how hard these games are in the franchise, like the first one was hard. Don't get me wrong, the first one was really hard. Second one was easy compared to the first one. Then you get to Nemesis. Nemesis was like, holy fuck. It had 2 modes, normal and hard, or should I say, fuck you and you're fucked. That's pretty much the difficulty for that. And of course, you know, all the the rest of the series that came out, starting to get a little bit more action oriented and a little bit more easier. And then, of course, when they brought out Resident Evil 7, I was excited for that. It was something fresh and new. It was in first person. That game did really well. I enjoyed 7. And then here we are playing Resident Evil 2, the remake, and holy shit, it's like 10 times better than 7. Everybody is enjoying it. It's that good. I love it. I can't wait to play more of it, you know? But also when it comes to Resident Evil, there's also some more news that fluttered this week, and I hope they do it. I mean, they talked about this in the past, but then they, like, you know, it just, like, disappeared off the face of the earth. So there's a Resident Evil TV series that's in the works for Netflix. Netflix has already done Castlevania. I still yet to watch both seasons. I gotta get into watching that. Now they're talking about doing Resident Evil. God, I will watch this. As soon as it comes out, I will watch every episode. So a couple years ago, some fake promotional art teased that Capcom's famous survival horror franchise, Resident Evil, would be coming to Netflix as a TV series. Remind you, this was 2 years ago, and we haven't heard anything about it since. It was fake. You know, it pretty much given up all our dreams. Oh, you just saw your therapist? Oh, okay. Well, I'm talking about Resident Evil now, man. I mean, you can always skip back when it's up on YouTube and check out, you know, what I started out with. But right now I'm talking about how Resident Evil is going to be a TV series on Netflix. Those rumors proved to be false, and the art in question turned out to be a little more than just an edited poster for Disney's The Haunted Mansion. However, it now seems that a Netflix adaptation of Resident Evil is actually in the works. This comes from an exclusive report by Deadline, which claims that Resident Evil Netflix series will be produced by Constantine Films. Oh, that's pretty good. So, yeah, Constantine Films, they have some pretty good movies under their belt. The same production company behind the Divisive film adaptations. So, yeah, Constantine Films, they did do a few of the Resident Evil movies. The series will reportedly expand the Resident Evil universe and deepen the exciting mythology. The Umbrella Corporation and the New World Order caused by the New World Order. Jesus Christ. What is with everything in fucking New World Order? God damn. Everything's fucking New World Order, man. Okay, the Umbrella Corporation and the New World Order. Is Hulk Hogan the leader? Hollywood Hogan, brother! Caused by the T-virus outbreak will be featured in the series. While this language certainly makes it sound as though Resident Evil Netflix series is set in the same universe as the film franchise, that has yet to be confirmed. So far, the show is still lacking a showrunner and is apparently in the early stages of development, so concrete details are understandably scarce at the time of this writing. Snoop Dogg and his old ass, probably. Some Resident Evil fans may be disappointed if the Resident Evil TV series is based on the films instead of the video game franchise. Despite being box office successes, the Resident Evil movies have constantly been lambasted, whatever the fuck that word is, by critics, and have only loosely followed the stories and the characters of the video games. Considering the massive sales success of the Resident Evil video game franchise, though, it seems safe to say that a faithful adaptation of the games would have a rather sizable audience. Luckily for Resident Evil fans who want a more faithful adaptation, it sounds like the Resident Evil movie reboot that's also in the works will deliver on that front. Early reports on the project indicate that Resident Evil movie reboot will be inspired by Resident Evil 7. Oh, that's some good news right there. Meaning fans may very well be able to look forward to an appearance by the creepy Baker family. Both the movie reboot and the Netflix series are still in early stages of development, and a lot can change between now and when filming actually starts. It will be interesting to see how the projects turn out and if they are able to avoid the mistakes of the previous film series. Resident Evil is reportedly in development at Netflix. Hopefully we'll get to see that sometime here in the future. Hopefully in 2019, maybe by the end of 2019, or probably in 2020. Yeah, I bet if they do the series of the game, yeah, it's going to be a big hit, definitely. See, Resident Evil in general, like, they try to span the universe out in different stories. And the movie series was pretty good. I enjoyed the movie series. It's got a lot of action to it. It's got some good horror elements in it. But in a way, I enjoyed how the story kind of went. Now, it did go stale for me when Retribution came out, which was the 5th movie installment. And it was kind of rushed. The movie played out in just under 2 hours, and there was a whole lot that I would like to learn about. But the characters from the games, let's cover those real quick. You got, starting from the beginning all the way up to the end, you got Nemesis, you got Jill Valentine, Claire was in there, Chris was in there, Leon was in there. Leon was in 5. Ada was in 5. Barry Burton was in 5. If they combined 6 and 7, that would be epic. Yeah, I know. 7 was very epic, man. 7 had that great scare tactic to it. The great. I can't even think of the word for it, but 7 was very good for what they did with the horror elements. But yeah, with the movie series, they throw all these game characters in there. And at one point, it's like, okay, there's like 2 or 3. It's like it's like 2 characters that carried on with like 2 sequels, 2 or 3 sequels, and they killed them off. Retribution, you had Leon, Ada, and Barry. They killed Barry off toward the end of the film. Don't know what happened to Ada and Leon and 6. So yeah, I guess the video game characters, they're pretty much throwaway characters in the movies. You know, they just add them in there just to have them in there. It's like, here's Leon, here's Barry, here's Ada. Hope you like them. Yeah, and then it kind of flops. Yeah, no, I gotta start with 0. 0 is still pretty good. I still gotta play. I still gotta beat that game. God, that's one of the only ones I haven't beaten yet. That and Dead Aim. But with the movie series, I enjoyed the first three. Or actually, yeah, the first three I did enjoy. Chronicles. Chronicles is basically a filler. It's not really a new storyline. It's basically storylines from other games. It's just a rail shooter of those. So, I mean, it may incorporate on a little bit more backstory to, like, let's say Resident Evil 2. But that's all the Chronicles series is. I played them. I didn't quite like them because I'm not too big of a fan of light rail games. And that's all they were light rail games. And trying to play them on a console with a traditional controller, with a standard controller, is pretty difficult within itself. So I didn't quite like I didn't really like the Chronicle games myself. But yeah, with the movies, I enjoyed the first three movies. The fourth movie, Afterlife, it was pretty good for an action movie, especially when they brought in Claire and Chris and of course Wesker. And it was pretty decent. I did enjoy it. 5, I wanted to enjoy, but it was kind of stale for me, and it was pretty rushed. Like, they had all this going on, and it was just rushed. There was like no really explanation or detail to certain things. It was a plot hole mess. It had a lot of plot holes, especially for the characters. And then 6 came out, which is the final chapter. I liked it, but I didn't like it. It wasn't quite disappointing as 5 was, but it was still kind of satisfying in a sense, you know, that the way they closed off the movie series. And what's funny is that video game movie adaptations, they fail so much over the last 25, 26 years. Starting out with like Super Mario Brothers and Double Dragon and all them, and Street Fighter. And some of them were like Hollywood flops, and they weren't really the best with the fans or the critics. And Resident Evil, that series is, I gotta say, the one series within the video game movie adaptations that has the most sequels, the most films in the franchise. Like, you don't see that with any other video game, adapted into a movie. Like, look at Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat has 2 movies. Mortal Kombat and then Annihilation. And not unless you count the YouTube series that is also part of like the Blu-ray collection that I have or anybody else will buy. But other than that, Mortal Kombat only had 2 movies. Actually, correction, Street Fighter had 2 movies also. I still have not seen, what was it, The Rise of Chun-Li or something like that. I forgot what it was. But I heard that was way worse than the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. But other than that, yeah, Resident Evil holds the mantle for most movies adapted from the video game series. And not only that, I mean, they even got 3 anime movies under the belt too. 3 CGI anime movies, and they're different stories, and they are all pretty good in my opinion. I like the CG ones; they are really good. I would suggest checking those out too. And not only that, like the theatrical live action versions, they've made back the money that they put out making the movies and then some for them to say, okay, let's make another one. But I'm glad they did. Like, I enjoyed watching them just as much as I enjoyed playing the games. Resident Evil is that series, that franchise that I love and so much. I enjoy it so much. And I hope they never really stop, and I mean, hey, I can't wait for the reboot of the movie if it actually goes through and they start, developing it. I can't wait for the TV show, and I can't wait for the next entry in the game series. Whatever that may be, whether it be Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil 3 remake, whatever it may be, I will get it definitely, and I will play it because I love the franchise. And also, speaking of survival horror, today marks the 20th anniversary for Silent Hill. Konami's Silent Hill. So happy 20th anniversary to Konami's Silent Hill. Another truly terrifying horror experience. And I know people are like, okay, let's remake this. There's a problem with that. Kashima, what's his name? Is it Tashima, whatever the fuck his name is. He left. You know, he pretty much left Konami. And Silent Hill was his baby. We could have had a Silent Hill game. We could have had Silent Hills. We had the PT demo, which was basically Silent Hills. We could have had that, but Konami had to be a bunch of assholes, and the master left. Now he's working on Death Stranding. We'll see that in about 5 years, maybe, depending on how long it takes. We could have had another Silent Hill, guys. I mean, not unless another company picks up and buys the rights to it or whatever. If Konami decides, hey, let's make Silent Hill, I'm like, hey, don't fuck it up now. But yeah, we need another Silent Hill. We definitely do. Like, Resident Evil is still refreshing itself, and it's still really good, but still, it would be nice to have that other competitor come back. It still would be nice to bring back Silent Hill and make it just as terrifying as the original. Or how about this? Capcom, work on Dino Crisis. Bring back Dino Crisis. That is a game that needs to be rebooted or remade or HD remastered, whatever. Bring back Dino Crisis. If you love Resident Evil, guys, play Dino Crisis. It's basically a Resident Evil style type game with dinosaurs on an island. And it's still just as terrifying. I enjoy it very much. You know what? I'll stream it for you guys. Sometime this month I will stream Dino Crisis. I have it. And I want to play it again. I'll definitely stream it for you guys. Definitely. What do I think about the new Hobbs and Shaw? You know what? I haven't even fully watched the trailer yet. I saw the trailer on Facebook. I gotta go and check it out now. I'll still see it. I'm not really too hyped for it, but I'll still see it. I've seen every Fast and Furious movie since then. You know, my favorite entry at number 1 will always be the Fast and the Furious, the very first. That's my favorite right there. That's my old school nostalgic favorite, is the original, the very beginning. That's my favorite right there. Followed by maybe Fate of the Furious, you know, the next one. Absoil, holy shit. I have not seen you in a while. What's going on there, buddy? God, I have not seen you in a while. What has been going on with you? Sadly, I'm just getting ready to close out the podcast. I've been going on for a little over an hour, but God, it's great to see you, man. God, I haven't seen any of you guys. Like, there was another guy in here the other day I haven't seen in a while. Holy shit. Oh, you think it's funny to say? I'm pretty sure it will be. You know, you got The Rock, and you got Jason Statham in there. Jason Statham, he is a really good actor. I give him that. He's really good with his karate, his martial arts skills, or whatever he practices, but he's got some pretty good moves. He's like the new Jackie Chan or Jet Li. Oh, you've been extremely busy lately? Ah, I hear that, man. I've been pretty busy myself. I've been streaming a whole lot myself, but I'm getting back into it. I've been doing an awful lot, you know, here or there. I've been recently streaming Resident Evil 2. Wolf and I, we did an Atari flashback stream, which is available on our YouTube channel as well. So if you miss anything at all, Abzul, go on over to our YouTube channel, Arrow Entertainment. The link is below. Click on there, subscribe. This podcast will be re-uploaded today. You can check it out when it's uploaded, and along with our other podcasts that you have missed, because I did Resident Evil 2 Remake last weekend, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I still got a lot more streams coming out. We did episode 26 of Chicken Squad. We got to do another one here soon. Oh, Krav must something in karate. Oh, okay. Yeah, he has some pretty good moves. His choreography is really good. I enjoy watching him in movies like The Transporter and Crank. He does have some. He has some really good moves on. Yeah, I know podcasts are fun only when live. Yeah, I know. But I did put in a pretty good amount of nostalgia information today. We talked about GameStop, how everything went from physical to digital, and of course Resident Evil. So you can pick back up on those, or you can check out our other streams. I did Resident Evil, and we did Atari flashbacks, and we got a couple new episodes of Chicken Squad that we did this week too. Krav Maga. Oh, okay, I gotta look into that. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me today. This is the end of the show, an hour and 10 minutes in. You guys are always great for coming in. The Empire 495. Be sure to follow him on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Empire 495. Wolf, as always. And of course, Absoil. Welcome back, buddy. Haven't seen you in a while. I'm still glad you're still around checking us out. And everybody who's watching, be sure to follow us and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, Arrow Entertainment. Or if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, be sure to follow us on twitch.tv/Arrow with a name. And guys, if you want updates for anything at all, or when we're going to be streaming and what we're going to be streaming next, check us out on Twitter at ArrowOfficial17. Or if you're not on Twitter and you are on Facebook, check us out on Facebook.com/Arrow with a name 18. Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. This was an epic and awesome podcast today. Hope you guys take care and catch us real soon. Yeah, you take care, Absoil. Take care, Empire and Wolf. And guys, I will see you back this weekend. Just keep in touch on what we'll be streaming. Catch you guys later.